Welcome to the Signet Radio Hour. I'm Luann Moldovan, your host and producer of today's show. All our performances are free, thanks to the generous support from our sponsor, Ronnie LaCroute. Today we bring you A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, adapted by Portlander Lisa Garofalo. This ensemble-based version, with Charles Dickens himself guiding us through his timeless, universally beloved classic tale as narrator. Our wonderful director is Alana Byington, and our marvelous actors are Dave Bowden, Kristen Martha Brown, Bruce Burkhart-Smyer, Linda Hayden, Sarah Lucht, Michelle Mariana, and Chris Porter. And now, A Christmas Carol.
Marley was dead, to begin with. There was no doubt whatever about that. The register of his burial was signed by the clergyman, the clerk, the undertaker, and the chief mourner. Scrooge signed it, and Scrooge's name was good upon the exchange for anything he chose to put his hand to. Old Marley was dead as a doornail. Mind, I don't know what there is particularly dead about a doornail. Scrooge knew he was dead? Of course he did. How could it be otherwise? Scrooge and he were partners for I don't know how many years. Scrooge was his sole executor, his sole administrator, his sole assign, his sole friend, and sole mourner. And even Scrooge was not so dreadfully cut up by the event, but that he was an excellent man of business on the very day of the funeral, and solemnized it with an undoubted bargain. Scrooge never painted out old Marley's name. There it stood, years afterward, above the warehouse door. Scrooge and Marley. The firm was known as Scrooge and Marley. Sometimes people new to the business called Scrooge Scrooge, and sometimes Marley, but he answered to both names. It was all the same to him. Oh, but he was a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone, Scrooge. A squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinner. Hard and sharp as flint, from which no steel had ever struck out generous fire, secret and self-contained and solitary as an old oyster. Once upon a time, of all the good days in the year, on Christmas Eve, old Scrooge sat busy in his counting-house.
What do you want?
Just a bit of coal, sir.
A bit of coal.
Well, it's awfully cold, sir.
Oh, coal is good for you. Makes you work faster.
Well, yes, sir.
A Merry Christmas, Uncle! God save you!
Bah! Humbug.
Christmas a humbug, Uncle? You don't mean that, I'm sure.
I do. Merry Christmas. What right have you to be merry? What reason have you to be merry? You're poor enough.
Oh, come then. What right have you to be dismal? What reason have you to be morose? You're rich enough.
Bah! Humbug!
Oh, don't be cross, Uncle.
What else can I be when I live in such a world of fools as this? Merry Christmas, out upon a Merry Christmas. What's Christmas time to you but a time for paying bills without money? A time for finding yourself a year older and not an hour richer? A time for balancing your books and having every item in them presented dead against you? If I could work my will, every idiot who goes about with a Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled with his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart, he should.
Oh, Uncle.
Oh, nephew. Keep Christmas in your way, and let me keep it in mine.
Keep it? But you don't keep it.
Let me leave it alone, then. Much good it may do you. Much good it has ever done you.
There are many things from which I might have derived good by which I have not profited, I dare say. Christmas among the rest. But I'm sure I've always thought of Christmas as a good time, a kind, forgiving, charitable, pleasant time. The only time I know of when men and women seem by one consent to open their shut-up hearts freely and to think of other people as though they really were fellow passengers to the grave and not another race of creatures bound on other journeys. And therefore, Uncle, though it has never put a scrap of gold or silver in my pocket, I believe it has done me good and will do me good. And I say God bless it.
Cratchit! Let me hear another sound from you, and you'll keep your Christmas by losing your situation. Now, you're quite a powerful speaker, sir. I wonder you don't go into Parliament.
Oh, don't be angry, Uncle. Come, dine with my wife and me tomorrow.
Why did you marry?
Because I fell in love.
Because you fell in love. Good afternoon.
I want nothing from you. I ask nothing of you. Why cannot we be friends?
Good afternoon.
I'm sorry with all my heart to find you so resolute. We have never had any quarrel to which I have been a party, but I have made this trial in homage to Christmas, and I'll keep my Christmas humor to the last. So, a Merry Christmas, Uncle.
Good afternoon.
And a Happy New Year.
Good afternoon. Well, there's another fellow, my clerk, with 15 shillings a week and a wife and family, talking about a Merry Christmas. I'll retire to Bedlam.
Scrooge and Marley's, I believe. Have I the pleasure of addressing Mr. Scrooge or Mr. Marley?
Addressing Mr. Marley would be no pleasure. He's been dead these 7 years. He died 7 years ago this very night.
We have no doubt his liberality is well represented by his surviving partner.
Yes, at this festive time of year, Mr. Scrooge, it is more than usually desirable that we should make some slight provision for the poor and destitute who suffer greatly at the present time. Many thousands are in want of common necessities. Hundreds of thousands are in want of common comfort, sir.
Are there no prisons?
Plenty of prisons.
And the union workhouses, are they still in operation?
They are. Still, I wish I could say they were not.
The treadmill and the poor law are in full vigor, then?
Both very busy, sir.
Oh, I was afraid from what you said at first that something had occurred to stop them in their useful course. I'm very glad to hear it.
Under the impression that they scarcely furnish Christmas cheer to the multitude, a few of us are endeavouring to raise a fund to buy the poor some meat and drink and means of warmth. We choose this time because it is a time of all others when want is keenly felt and abundance rejoices. What shall I put you down for, sir?
Nothing.
You wish to remain anonymous?
I wish to be left alone. Since you ask me what I wish, gentlemen, that is my answer. I don't make merry myself at Christmas, and I can't afford to make idle people merry. I help to support the establishments I have mentioned. They cost enough, and those who are badly off must go there.
Many cannot go there, and many would rather die.
If they would rather die, they had better do it and decrease the surplus population. Besides, excuse me, I don't know that.
But you might know it.
It is not my business. It is enough for a man to understand his own business and not to interfere in other people's. Mine occupies me constantly. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Seeing clearly that it would be useless to pursue their point, the gentleman withdrew. Scrooge resumed his labours with an improved opinion of himself and in a more facetious temper than was usual with him.
You'll want all day tomorrow, I suppose?
If quite convenient, sir.
It is not convenient, and it is not fair. If I were to stop you £0.50 for it, you'd think yourself ill-used, I'll be bound. And yet you don't think me ill-used when I pay a day's wages for no work.
It's only once a year, sir.
A poor excuse for picking a man's pocket every 25th of December. Well, I suppose you must have the whole day. Be here all the earlier next morning.
Yes, I will, sir. Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
The office was closed in a twinkling. The clerk stopped on his way home to go down a slide on Cornhill at the end of a line of boys 20 times in honor of its being Christmas Eve. Meanwhile, the fog and darkness thickened so that people ran about with flaring links, proffering their services to go before horse and carriages and conduct them on their way. The brightness of the shops, where holly sprigs and berries crackled in the lamp heat of the windows, made pale faces ruddy as they passed. Poulterers' and grocers' trades became a splendid joke, a glorious pageant. Foggier yet, and colder. Piercing, searching, biting cold. Scrooge took his dinner in his usual melancholy tavern, beguiling the evening with his banker's book, then went home to bed. He lived in a gloomy suite of rooms in a dark courtyard, where the house had so little business to be that one could scarcely help fancying that it must have run there when it was a young house, playing at hide-and-seek with the other houses, and have forgotten its way out. The fog and frost so hung about the black old gateway that it seemed as if the genius of the weather sat in mournful meditation on the threshold. The yard was so dark that even Scrooge, who knew its every stone, had to feel his way. Now, it is a fact that there was nothing particular about the knocker on the door, except that it was rather large. It was also a fact that Scrooge had seen it night and morning during his residency in that place. Also a fact that Scrooge had as little fancy about him as any man in London. Then, let any man explain to me, if he can, how it happened that Scrooge saw not a knocker,
But Marley's face.
Bah! Humbug!
Scrooge fastened the door and walked across the hall and up the stairs, slowly, too, trimming his candle as he went. Up Scrooge went, not caring a button for the dark. Darkness is cheap, and Scrooge liked that. He walked through his rooms to see that all was right. He had just enough recollection of Marley's face to desire to do that. Sitting room, bedroom, lumber room, all as they should be. Nobody under the table, nobody under the sofa, nobody under the bed, nobody in the closet, nobody in his dressing gown, which is hanging up in a suspicious attitude. Quite satisfied, he closed his door and locked himself in. Double locked himself in, which was not his custom.
It's humbug still. I won't believe it. How now? What do you want with me?
Much.
Who are you?
Ask me who I was.
Oh, you're mighty particular for a shade. Well, who were you then?
In life, I was your partner, Jacob Marley.
Can you sit down?
I can.
Do it then.
You don't believe in me?
I don't.
What evidence would you have of my reality beyond that of your own senses?
I don't know.
Why do you doubt your senses?
Because a little thing affects them. A slight disorder of the stomach makes them cheats. You may be an undigested bit of beef, a blot of mustard, a fragment of an underdone potato. There's more of the grave here than of the grave of you, whatever you... Oh, my mercy! A dreadful apparition! Why do you trouble me?
Oh, man of the worldly mind. Do you believe in me or not?
I do. I must. But why do spirits walk the earth? And why do they come to me?
It is required of every man that the spirit within him should walk abroad among his fellow men. If that spirit goes not forth in life, it is condemned to do so after death. It is doomed to wander through the world and witness what it cannot share, but might have shared on earth and turned to happiness.
You are fettered. Tell me why.
I wear the chain I forged in life. I made it link by link and yard by yard. I girded it on of my own free will, and of my own free will I wore it. Is its pattern strange to you? Or would you know the weight and length of the strong coil you bear yourself? It was full as heavy and as long as this 7 Christmas Eves ago. You have labored on it since. It is a ponderous chain.
Jacob. Oh, Jacob Marley. Tell me more. Speak comfort to me, Jacob.
I have none to give. It comes from other regions, Ebenezer Scrooge, and is conveyed by other ministers to other kinds of men. Nor can I tell you what I would. I cannot rest. I cannot stay. I cannot linger anywhere. In life, my spirit never roved beyond the narrow limits of our money-changing hole, and weary journeys lie before me.
But you were always a good man of business, Jacob.
Oh, business! Mankind was my business. The common welfare was my business. Charity, mercy, forbearance, and benevolence were all my business. The dealings of my trade were but a drop of water in the comprehensive ocean of my business. At this time of year, I suffer most. Why did I walk through crowds of fellow beings with my eyes turned down, and never raise them to that blessed star which led the wise men to a poor abode? Were there no poor homes to which its light would have conducted me?
But, Jacob...
Hear me! My time is nearly gone.
I will. But don't be hard on me.
How is it that I appear before you in a shape that you can see, I may not tell? I have sat invisible beside you many and many a day. That is no light part of my penance. I am here tonight to warn you that you have yet a chance and hope of escaping my fate. A chance and hope of my procuring Ebenezer.
You were always a good friend to me, Jacob.
You will be haunted by 3 spirits.
Is that the chance and hope you mentioned, Jacob?
It is.
I think I'd rather not.
Without their visits, you cannot hope to shun the path I tread. Expect the first tomorrow, when the bell tolls 1. Expect the next...
Couldn't I take them all at once and have it over, Jacob?
Expect the second on the next night at the same hour. The third upon the next night when the last stroke of 12 has ceased to vibrate. Look to see me no more.
Scrooge became sensible of confused noises in the air, incoherent sounds of lamentation and regret, wailings inexpressibly sorrowful and self-accusatory. The air was filled with phantoms wandering hither and thither in restless haste and moaning as they went. The misery with them all was, clearly, that they sought to interfere for good in human matters and had lost the power forever. Whether these creatures faded into mist or mist enshrouded them, he could not tell. But they and their spirit voices faded together, and the night became as it had been when he walked home.
Humbug.
When Scrooge awoke, it was dark, and the chimes of a neighboring church were striking the 4 quarters. So he listened for the hour. To his great astonishment, the heavy bell went on from 6 to 7, and from 7 to 8, and regularly up to 12, then stopped. 12? It was past 2 when he went to bed. The clock was wrong. An icicle must have got into the works. 12?
Well, it isn't possible that I have slept through a whole day and far into another night. It isn't possible that anything has happened to the sun, and this is 12 noon.
Scrooge went to bed again, and thought and thought and thought it over and over, and could make nothing of it. The more he thought, the more perplexed he was, and the more he endeavored not to think, the more he thought. At length the hour broke again upon his ear.
1/4 past. 1/2 past. 1/4 to it. The hour itself and nothing else. Are you the spirit, sir, whose coming was foretold to me?
I am.
Who and what are you?
I am the ghost of Christmas past.
Long past?
No, your past.
What is your business with me?
Your welfare.
I thank you very kindly, but I believe my welfare would be assisted more by a good night's sleep.
Your reclamation, then. Take heed. Rise and walk with me.
But, Spirit, the night is cold, and I have only on my dressing gown and slippers.
Come. Walk with me.
I am a mortal and unable to pass through walls.
Bear but a touch of my hand there, and you shall pass through more than this.
As the words were spoken, they passed through the wall and stood upon an open country road, with fields on either hand. The city had entirely vanished.
Good heavens. I was bred in this place. I was a boy here.
They left the high road by a well-remembered lane and soon approached a mansion of dull red brick. Upon entering that dreary hall, they found a chilly bareness in the place, which associated itself somehow with too much getting up by candlelight and not too much to eat. And in the hall, a lonely boy was reading near a feeble fire.
Can he?
These are but the shadows of the things that have been, and they have no consciousness of us.
Quiet as old Ali Baba. The Arabian Nights.
Your lip is trembling. And what is that upon your cheek?
A pimple, nothing more. Lead me where you would.
Another Christmas, then.
Ebenezer?
Fan! Oh, how I've missed you.
I've missed you too, Ebenezer. And so has Father.
Father?
Yes. He's ever so nice now.
Father?
Yes. And he sent me to fetch you home, dear brother.
Home, little Fan.
Yes, home for good and all. Father's ever so much kinder than he used to be, that home's like heaven. He spoke to me so gently one night when I was going to bed that I was not afraid to ask him once more if you might come home. And he said, yes, you should, and sent me in a coach to bring you. And we're to be together all the Christmas long and to have the merriest time in all the world.
Oh, you are quite a woman, little Fan.
Oh, but the coachman won't wait long, Ebenezer. Hurry and get your things.
Yes, of course. Wait here. Fan, I can't believe I'm going...
Ebenezer!
Oh, sorry, sir. But I'm
And
going...
Fan! Little Fan, how you've grown.
She's here to take me home.
And such a pretty frock.
I'm going home, sir.
Home? Home? Well, well. How nice for you. Come, we must celebrate. Take some tea with me.
Oh, no, sir. We must hurry. The coach...
Oh, the coach will wait. Come, sit down. Rosemary, bring tea for 3.
But I must gather my things.
Oh, nonsense. We'll see to that. You've forgotten the cake, Rosemary.
Cake, sir? But you never give cake to children.
Nonsense. Bring the cake, Rosemary.
Yes, sir.
He administered the installments of those little dainties to the young people and sent out a meager servant to offer a glass of something to the postboy, who answered that he thanked the gentleman, but if it was the same tap as he had tasted before, he had rather not.
I'll see to the boy's things. He's going on holiday.
Holiday? How nice for you. I'm sure.
Oh, no, sir. I'm going home for good.
For good?
Yes, for good and all. We're to study in London. But really, we must be hurrying along.
No, the coach will wait, my dears. Sit down and finish your tea. Let me give you a bit of parting advice, Ebenezer. Now, what I have endeavored to teach you here are facts. Facts alone are wanted in life. You can only form the minds of reasoning animals upon facts. Nothing else will ever be of service to them. This is the principle upon which I've based my life, and this is the principle you should cling to. Stick to the facts, sir. Facts, facts, facts. You are to be in all things regulated and governed by fact. We hope to have, before long, a board of fact, composed of a commissioner of fact, who will force the people to be a people of fact, and of nothing but fact. You must discard the word fancy altogether. You have nothing to do with it. You...
Hurry up, I can't wait all day for 1 shilling pay.
Goodbye, sir.
Remember all I've told you, young Scrooge.
Yes, sir.
Merry Christmas, sir.
Always a delicate creature was Fan.
But she had a large heart.
Sure. So she had. I will not gainsay it, Spirit.
She died a woman and had, as I think, children?
1 child.
True. Your nephew.
Yes. I wish... But it's too late now.
What is the matter?
Nothing.
Come, let us see another Christmas.
Although they had but at that moment left the school behind them, they were now in the busy thoroughfares of a city. It was made plain enough by the dressings of the shops that here, too, it was Christmas time again. The Spirit stopped at a certain warehouse door.
Do you know this place?
Know it? I was apprenticed here. Why, it's old Fezziwig, bless his heart. It's Fezziwig alive again.
6 and 4 is 10. 12 and 5 is 17. 43 and 9 is 52. And 10, 17, and 52 are... 79. How are those figures coming, boys? All added up?
Nearly, sir.
Just about.
And Dick Wilkins, to be sure. Bless me, yes, there he is. He was very much attached to me, was Dick.
Oh, well, now, must keep working, boys. Don't dawdle. Yes, the party. Run along, dear. It'll be time for the party soon enough. Now, boys, keep at those figures. Add 'em up.
Surely it's nearly time.
Well, now, let me see. No, only 4 o'clock.
4?
Surely.
That's 6 o'clock, Phineas. Is the room ready?
In a moment, dear. 6. Why... Oh, my watch must have... Well, no matter. It's surely time to clear away, boys. It's Christmas Eve! Let's have those shutters up before a man can say Jack Robinson.
You wouldn't believe how those two fellows went at it. They charged into the street with the shutters. 1, 2, 3, had them in their places. 4, 5, 6, barred them and pinned them. 7, 8, 9, and came back before you could have got to 12, panting like racehorses.
Hally-ho! Clear away, my lads, and let's have lots of room here. Hally-ho, Dick! Chin up, Ebenezer! Move this table over here. Oop. That should do it.
What's that table doing over there? It should be over here, of course.
Well, now, boys, you heard Mrs. F. Hop to it.
Yes. Merry Christmas to you too, dear. But we must get ready. No time for foolishness. Ebenezer, build up the fire. Dick, this room needs sweeping. Oh, and Millicent, bring the tablecloth. Now then, girls, bring on the food. Phineas, help me hang the mistletoe and ribbons.
Where shall we put these, Dick?
And who made these?
I made them with Abigail's help. Do try one, Dick.
The table looks beautiful. I'd better try one of those cakes. Thank you, my dear.
Dick, come and help me with my coat. Your tie is a mess.
Well, your coat is dusty.
Give it a brush then, there's a good fellow.
Ebenezer, I need your help tonight, Eb.
With what? Can't remember the dances, Dick.
No. Millicent and...
Oh, need some romantic advice, Dick? Well, I could advise...
No, Ebenezer. I need you to chat up Mr. F so I can talk with Millicent alone.
You're way ahead of me, Dick. Of course, anything I can do to help the course of true love run smoothly.
Thank you, Eb. I knew I could count on you.
Now, boys, come and join us in a toast.
To my lovely wife, my 2 lovely daughters, and my 2 extremely capable and most helpful apprentices. Merry Christmas!
Merry
Christmas!
Oh, my, here they are. Now, girls.
Well, let the party begin. Wonderful punch, my dear. Welcome! Welcome! So glad you were free to join us, Henry. Could have a party without a musician.
My pleasure, sir, I'm sure, knowing your good lady's recipe for punch.
And you shall have all that you should want, Henry. My daughters, Millicent and Abigail.
Charmed.
Ebenezer, help Henry find a good spot. Perhaps a crate to stand on.
I will get it, Mother. Why, Belle, you did come.
Hello, Millicent. Yes, I hope it is all right.
Of course. Mother, Father, this is my new friend, Belle.
Why, Belle, welcome. Millicent has talked of you so much, I feel I know you.
Welcome, my dear. A pretty girl is always welcome.
Oh, Papa.
And here's Ebenezer to take your wrap, my dear. Ebenezer, this is Belle.
Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. The fiddler is certainly quick to the punch. You and Millicent are friends?
Yes. It seems my employer and Mrs. Fezziwig have the same tastes in goods. We meet on our errands quite often.
Oh, then you work here in the neighborhood.
I look after the Boswell's children 2 streets over.
Ah. May I call to walk you home one day soon?
Oh, well, you see, I don't go home. My parents died some years ago.
I'm sorry.
Oh, but you may call, if you'd like.
Oh, very much.
It's getting late. How about a Christmas toast to send you all homeward? To good friends and loving families.
Yes.
May the spirit of Christmas be with you all year round.
Merry Christmas!
Oh, do come to Christmas dinner tomorrow, Belle.
Oh, I would love to. Are you sure it will be all right?
Of course. Mother, may Belle come to Christmas dinner with us?
We would be delighted.
Oh, naturally. Come early for games as well.
Oh, thank you. It was a wonderful party. Such nice people.
We'll see you tomorrow then, around noon.
Yes, and thank you all again. Goodbye.
Oh, my dear, you can't walk home alone in the dark.
Oh, but...
Let's see if anyone could walk you home.
I will, sir. It would be a pleasure.
That's my boy. See her safely to her door and hop back home. I'll expect you in 5 or 10 minutes.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Merry Christmas.
Well, Henry, lovely fiddling, as usual.
Lovely party, Mr. Fezziwig, as usual. And lovely punch, Mrs. Fezziwig.
Now, here's your...
No, it's my Christmas pleasure, sir.
Oh, well, Merry Christmas.
We must get Abigail to bed.
Never mind, Abigail. I am exhausted.
I'll close up.
I will clear away, Mother. You've worked hard enough.
Thank you, children.
Thank you, children.
Good night.
Good night.
Merry Christmas. A small matter to make these silly folks so full of gratitude.
Small.
Why? Is it not? He has spent but a few pounds of your mortal money, 3 or 4 perhaps. Is that so much that he deserves this praise?
Well, it isn't that, Spirit. He has the power to render us happy or unhappy, to make our service light or burdensome, a pleasure or a toil. Say that his power lies in words and looks, in things so slight and insignificant that it is impossible to add and count them up. What then? The happiness he gives us is quite as great as if it cost a fortune.
What is the matter?
Nothing particular.
Something, I think.
No, I should like to be able to say a word or two to my clerk just now, that's all.
My time grows short. Quickly.
The room aged before their eyes as 3 years passed. Again, Scrooge saw himself. He was older now, a man in the prime of life. His face had not the harsh and rigid lines of later years, but it had begun to wear the signs of care and avarice. There was an eager, greedy, restless motion in the eye, which showed the passion that had taken root, and where the shadow of the growing tree would fall.
But why do you wish to break off our contract?
Because there is no room for me in your heart.
I don't understand you.
Another idol has displaced me, and I hope it can cheer and comfort you in time to come, as I would have tried to do.
What idol has displaced you?
A golden one.
This is the even-handed dealing of the world. There's nothing on which it is so hard as poverty, and there is nothing it professes to condemn with such severity as the pursuit of wealth.
You fear the world too much. I have seen your nobler aspirations fall off one by one until the master passion, gain, engrosses you.
What then? Even if I have grown so much wiser, what then? I am not changed toward you. Am I?
Our contract is an old one. It was made when we were both poor and content to be so, until we could improve our worldly fortune by our patient industry. You are changed. When it was made, you were another man.
I was a boy.
Ebenezer, the love which promised happiness when we were one in heart is fraught with misery now that we are two. How often and how keenly I have thought of this, I will not say. It is enough that I have thought of it and can release you.
Have I ever sought release?
In words, no, never.
In what then?
In a changed nature, in an altered spirit, in everything that made my love of any worth or value in your sight. If this contract had never been between us, tell me, would you seek me out and try to win me now?
You think not.
I would gladly think otherwise if I could. But if you were free today, would you choose a dowerless woman? Do I not know that your repentance and regret would surely follow? I do. And I release you, with a full heart for the love of him you once were. May you be happy in the life you've chosen.
Spirit, show me no more. Conduct me home. Why do you delight to torture me?
One shadow more.
No more. I do not wish to see it. Show me no more.
And not another peep until morning.
But, Mother...
You heard me. Good night.
Good night. And Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas, Mama.
Merry Christmas, dearest. Now off to bed.
Merry Christmas, Belle.
Shh. The children are just now to bed. Merry Christmas, dear Joseph. Did you get Michael's toy soldier?
Yes.
And Melissa's sewing basket?
Yes.
And Elizabeth's spinning top?
Yes.
Oh, good.
And more besides.
Oh?
That can wait till morning, love.
True. I am as bad as the children.
And as good and as lovable. I saw an old beau of yours today, Belle.
Who?
Yes.
An old beau of mine, but there's never been anyone but you, dear. Except...
Yes?
Not Ebenezer Scrooge.
Mr. Scrooge it was. I passed his office window, and as it was not shut up, and he had a candle inside, I could scarcely help seeing him. His partner lies upon the point of death, I hear, and there he sat, alone. Quite alone in the world, I do believe.
Poor Ebenezer.
May we have a Christmas story, Mother? It's so hard to get to sleep.
Of course, dearest.
Spirit, remove me from this place.
I told you, these were shadows of the things that have been. That they are what they are, do not blame me.
Remove me. I cannot bear it. Bah! Humbug!
There he lies, Ebenezer Scrooge, exhausted by what he has seen, and dreaming of what is yet to come.
Ebenezer. Ebenezer Scrooge, come! Come and know me better, man. I am the ghost of Christmas present. Look upon me. You have never seen the like of me before.
Never.
Have you never walked forth with the younger members of my family?
I don't think I have. I'm afraid I have not. Have you many brothers, Spirit?
More than 1,800.
A tremendous family to provide for. Spirit, conduct me where you will. I went forth last night on compulsion, and I learned a lesson which is working now. Tonight, if you have aught to teach me, let me profit by it.
Come, take my arm.
Scrooge did as he was told and held it fast. The room, the fire, the ruddy glow, the hour of the night all vanished, and they stood in the city streets on Christmas morning. The house fronts looked black enough, and the windows blacker, contrasting with the smooth white sheet of snow upon the roofs and with the dirtier snow upon the ground. The sky was gloomy, and the shorter streets were choked up with a dingy mist, half thawed, half frozen. There was nothing very cheerful in the climate or the town, and yet there was an air of cheerfulness abroad. For the people who were shoveling away on the housetops were jovial and full of glee, calling out to one another from the parapets, and now and then exchanging a facetious snowball. The poulterers' shops were still half open, and the fruiterers were radiant in their glory. The grocers, oh, the grocers, nearly closed, with perhaps 2 shutters down or 1. The customers were all so hurried and so eager in the hopeful promise of the day that they tumbled up against each other at the door and left their purchases upon the counter and came running back to fetch them and committed hundreds of the like mistakes in the best humor possible. But soon the steeples called good people all to church and chapel, and away they came, flocking through the streets in their best clothes and with their gayest faces. And at the same time, there emerged from scores of by-streets, lanes, and nameless turnings innumerable people, carrying their dinners to bakers' shops. The sight of these poor revelers appeared to interest the ghost very much, for he stood with Scrooge beside him in a baker's doorway, and, smiling on the bearers as they passed, sprinkled incense on their dinners from his torch.
Is there a peculiar flavor in what you sprinkle from your torch?
There is my own.
Would it apply to any kind of dinner on this day?
To any kindly given. To a poor one most.
Why to a poor one most?
Because it needs it most.
Perhaps it was the pleasure the ghost had in sharing this seasoning of his, or else it was his own kind, generous, hearty nature and his sympathy with all poor men that led him straight to Scrooge's clerks. For there he went, and took Scrooge with him. And on the threshold of the door the ghost smiled and stopped to bless Bob Cratchit's dwelling with the sprinklings of his torch.
Now, Belinda, we must set the table.
I can do it, Mother.
Thank you, dear. The potatoes are nearly up to boil. Where is the rest of this family?
Here I am, Mother. I sold all the pipers, and Mr. Brown gave me an extra 2pence.
A 2pence?
My!
Yes, for Christmas cheer, he said. So I bought some oranges.
Oh, how wonderful. We'll certainly have a festive table now.
I thought they would taste good with the punch.
Oh, won't Tim be surprised?
Where is that precious boy? And your father? And Martha? She wasn't this late last Christmas by half an hour.
No, but there's an awful lot of ice on the... Here she comes.
Why, bless your heart alive, my dear. How late you are.
Oh, we had a good deal of work to finish up last night and had to clear away this morning, Mother.
Well, never mind, so long as you're here. Sit down before the fire, my dear, and have a warm, Lord bless you.
Oh, Mother, it's so good to be home.
Here's Father coming.
Hide, Martha, hide, and surprise him.
Merry Christmas, Mrs. Cratchit.
Merry Christmas, Bob. Merry Christmas, Tim.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yeah, sit by the fire, Father.
We've such a grand dinner planned.
But where's our Martha?
Not coming.
Not coming?
No.
Not at all.
What, not coming for Christmas?
Oh, no.
Should be hard to celebrate without Martha.
It won't be Christmas without her.
Hide, Martha.
Oh, no, I can't bear for them to be so sad. Merry Christmas, Father. Merry Christmas, Tiny Tim.
What a phrase you gave me.
How's the pudding? It's steaming away.
Let's go have a look.
Now then, Martha.
You two have a good rest now. This is your holiday.
You must have a holiday too, Mother.
It's my Christmas pleasure just to be together, all of us, for Christmas Day. And how did little Tim behave at church?
Oh, as good as gold. And better. Somehow he gets thoughtful, sitting by himself so much, and thinks the strangest things you've ever heard.
He told me coming home that he hoped the people saw him in the church, because he was a cripple, and it might be pleasant for them to remember upon Christmas Day who made lame beggars walk and blind men see.
Oh, Bob.
The pudding smells wonderful.
I tried to lift the lid to see.
Oh, no!
I did not let him, Mother.
I should hope not, Peter. Do you not know that it would spoil the pudding?
Well, it's all very well to talk about the pudding, but what about the goose?
Oh, my word, the goose. Peter, run to the goose and fetch our baker.
Oh, now then, Mrs. Cratchit, calm down.
But it is Christmas dinner, Bob. It must be perfect.
Tell us a story, Martha.
Yes, maybe that will calm your mother down.
Don't tease me, Bob.
Well, yesterday an ever-so-rich lady came storming into the shop. May I help you? I said. This hat is frightful. It is a joke. I cannot possibly wear it this way, she cried. Well, wouldn't you believe it, Mother, but it was just as she had ordered it. Pink feathers and green berries, purple roses, and yellow lace.
Purple roses?
Yes. So I suggested some red berries and roses with pink feathers and lace. I fixed it up in a jiffy, and she was ever so pleased.
That's our girl.
She said she'll have me do all her hats from now on.
Why, think of that. Our Martha, a sought-after milliner.
Yes, Peter.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Our goose is cooked.
You're the goose, Peter. Now, sit down.
Master Peter, will you say grace, sir?
Bless us, O Lord, and these thy gifts, for which we give our heartfelt thanks. Amen.
There never was such a goose. Its tenderness and flavor, size and cheapness were the themes of universal admiration. Eked out by applesauce and mashed potatoes, it was a sufficient dinner for the whole family. The youngest Cratchits in particular were steeped in sage and onion to their eyebrows. But now, the pudding.
The pudding. Oh, I am so nervous. Suppose it should not be done enough. Suppose it should break in the turning out. Suppose somebody should have got over the wall of the backyard and stolen it while we were merry with the goose.
Suppose you hurry out there and see. We can hardly wait. I can hardly wait. I don't know about you.
I can hardly wait.
Hello. I smell a smell remarkably like an eating house and pastry cooks next door to each other with a laundresses next door to that. It must be the pudding. My dear, it looks quite wonderful.
I had my doubts about the quantity of flour.
It's perfect.
Perfectly beautiful.
The Christmas pudding.
The pudding, the pudding.
And here is the Christmas punch. A toast to a lovely dinner and an even lovelier wife.
Oh, Bob.
Hurrah for Mother!
And to Mr. Scrooge, the founder of the feast.
Founder of the feast, indeed. I wish I had him here. I'd give him a piece of my mind to feast upon.
My dear, the children. Christmas Day.
It should be Christmas Day, I am sure, on which one drinks the health of such an odious, stingy, hard, unfeeling man as Mr. Scrooge. You know he is, Robert. Nobody knows it better than you do, poor fellow.
My dear.
I'll drink his health. For your sake and for the sake of the day. Not for his. Long life to him. A Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. He'll be very merry and very happy, I have no doubt. To
Mr. Scrooge. And a Merry Christmas to us all. God bless us.
Merry Christmas!
God bless us, everyone.
Spirit, tell me if Tiny Tim will live.
I see a vacant seat in the poor chimney corner, and a crutch without an owner, carefully preserved. If these shadows remain unaltered, the child will die.
No, no. Oh, no. Kind Spirit, say he will be spared.
If these shadows remain unaltered by the future, None other of my race will find him here. What then? If he be likely to die, he'd better do it, and decrease the surplus population. Man, if man you be in heart, forbear that wicked cant until you have discovered what the surplus is and where it is. Will you decide what men shall live, what men shall die? It may be that in the sight of heaven you are more worthless and less fit to live than millions like this poor man's child. Oh, God, to hear the insect on the leaf pronouncing on the too much life among his hungry brothers in the dust.
Spirit, lead me on, please.
By this time it was dark and snowing heavily, and as Scrooge and the Spirit went along the streets, the brightness of the roaring fires in kitchens, parlors, and all sorts of rooms was wonderful. And now, without a word of warning from the ghost, they stood upon a bleak and desert moor, where monstrous masses of rude stone were cast up.
What place is this?
A place where miners live, who labor in the bowels of the earth. A poor place, and yet they know me.
And passing through a wall of mud and stone, they found a cheerful company assembled around a glowing fire. The Spirit did not tarry here, but bade Scrooge take his arm, and passing on above the moor, sped out to sea until they lighted on a ship. They stood beside the helmsman at the wheel, the lookout in the bow, the officers who had the watch, and every man among them hummed a Christmas tune, or had a Christmas thought, or spoke of some bygone Christmas day in some fondly remembered home. It was a great surprise to Scrooge, while listening to the moaning of the wind at sea, to hear a hearty laugh. It was a much greater surprise to Scrooge to recognize it as his own nephew's, and to find himself in a bright, dry, gleaming room, with the ghost standing smiling by his side and looking at that same nephew with approving affability.
Such a dinner, eh, Thomas Topper?
Such a dinner indeed. And a lucky man to have such a lovely cook.
My dear sisters helped me, Mr. Topper.
Ah, such lovely sisters they are, too.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, Mr. Topper, you are such a tease.
Too bad your Uncle Scrooge couldn't have joined us, Fred.
Oh, yes, it is a shame.
He missed a delicious dinner.
Yes, that much more for us, eh, gentlemen?
I invited him, and he refused. He said that Christmas was a humbug. Exactly. He believed it, too.
More shame for him, Fred.
He's a comical old fellow, that's the truth. And not so pleasant as he might be. However, his offenses carry their own punishment, and I have nothing to say against him.
I'm sure he is very rich, isn't he, Fred?
Well, what of that? His wealth is of no use to him. He does no good with it. He doesn't make himself or others comfortable with it.
I have no patience with him.
I am sorry for him. Who suffers by his ill winds? Himself? Always?
You're right, Victoria. The consequence of his taking a dislike to us and not making merry with us is, as I think, that he loses some pleasant moments which could do him no harm. I mean to give him the same chance every year, whether he likes it or not, for I pity him. If it only puts him in the vein to leave his poor clock £50 when he dies, that's something. And I think I shook him yesterday.
You shook him?
You were probably shook by him. He's such an old bear.
Well, now, how about a game before dessert?
Oh, yes.
Let's play blind man's bluff.
Capital idea.
I volunteer Topper to be it.
Much obliged, Sir Cecil.
I no more believe Topper is really blind than I believe he has eyes in his boots. My opinion is that it was a done thing between him and Fred. The way he went after Emily is an outrage on the credulity of human nature.
I'm sure you could see, Mr. Topper.
Oh, no, Miss Emily. Love is blind, don't you know?
How about a quiet game?
Yes.
And no?
Yes and no, capital idea. Shall we sit here, Miss Emily?
Well, now, who has an idea?
I do, my dear.
All right, then. Fred, is it an animal?
Yes.
A live animal?
Yes.
A fierce animal?
Oh, yes.
A savage animal?
Does it live in London?
Yes.
Capital question. What a smart girl she is.
Is it part of an animal show?
No.
Is it killed in the marketplace?
No.
A tiger?
No.
A bear?
No.
A wild boar?
No.
A lion. A lion.
A lion?
No.
A fierce London animal. Oh! I think I know.
Oh.
Well?
Is it... No, it can't be.
Come on, Victoria.
Is it... Your Uncle Scrooge?
Yes.
Me?
Uncle Scrooge!
A wonderful guess, Miss Victoria. Although I do think you should have answered yes, Fred, when I asked if it was a bear.
A bear.
How about a glass of mulled wine?
Yes, a toast. A toast to Uncle Scrooge. He's given us a great deal of merriment this evening.
And that's all we'll ever get from him, eh, Fred?
True enough, Topper. To Uncle Scrooge, a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to the old man. He wouldn't take it from me, but may he have it nevertheless. Uncle Scrooge.
Uncle Scrooge!
Uncle Scrooge had imperceptibly become so gay and light of heart that he would have pledged the unconscious company in return and thanked them in an inaudible speech if the ghost had given him time. But the whole scene passed off in the breath of the last words spoken by his nephew, and they were once again upon their travels. Much they saw, and far they went, and many homes they visited. The ghost stood beside sick beds, and they were cheerful. On foreign lands, and they were close at home. By poverty, and it was rich. In misery's every refuge, the ghost left his blessing, and taught Scrooge his precepts.
Spirit, I see something strange there. Is it a foot or a claw?
It might be a claw, for the flesh there is upon it. Look here.
Are they yours, Spirit?
They are man's. They cling to me, appealing from their fathers. This boy is ignorance. This girl is want. Beware of them both, and all their degree. But most of all, beware this boy, for on his brow I see written doom, unless the writing be erased.
Have they no refuge, no resources?
Are there no prisons? Are there no workhouses?
I am in the presence of the ghost of Christmas yet to come. You are about to show me shadows of the things that have not happened, but will happen in the time before us. Is that so, Spirit? Ghost of the future. I fear you more than any spectre I have seen. But as I know your purpose is to do me good, and as I hope to be another man from what I was, I am prepared to bear your company, and will do it with a thankful heart. Will you not speak to me? Lead on.
Scrooge scarcely seemed to enter the city, but there he was, in the heart of it, on the exchange, among the merchants, who hurried up and down and chinked the money in their pockets and conversed in groups and looked at their watches as Scrooge had seen them often.
No, I don't know much about it either way. I only know he's dead.
When did he die?
Last night, I believe.
Why, whatever was the matter with him? I thought he'd never die.
God knows. Well, old Scratch has got his own at last, eh?
What has he done with his money?
Haven't heard. Left it all to his company, perhaps. He hasn't left it to me, that's all I know.
It's likely to be a very cheap funeral, for upon my life I don't know of anybody to go to it. Suppose we make up a party and volunteer.
I don't mind going if a lunch is provided, but I must be fed if I make one.
Well, I am the most disinterested among you, after all, for I never wear black gloves, and I never eat lunch. but I'll offer to go if anyone else will. Awfully cold, isn't it?
Seasonable for Christmas time.
Yes, well, good day, gentlemen.
Good day.
Good day, sir.
Who are they speaking of so callously? Spirit, if there is any person in the town who feels emotion caused by this man's death, would you show me that person?
The ghost led Scrooge to a small but well-kept room, which showed its poverty only by its bareness. There they found a woman anxiously waiting, unable to tend to her needlework, and starting at every sound.
What did he say, Daniel?
I didn't talk to him.
You promised you would ask him for more time.
Well, he couldn't see me, Caroline.
Could not? But...
He's dead, Caroline.
Oh, God.
Oh, it's our salvation. What was said to me last night when I tried to see him and obtain a week's delay, and what I thought was a mere excuse to avoid me, turns out to have been quite true. He was not only very ill, but dying then.
To whom will our debt be transferred?
I don't know, but before that time we shall be ready with the money. And even though we were not, it would be bad fortune indeed to find so merciless a creditor in his successor. We may sleep tonight with light hearts, Caroline.
Oh, Daniel.
They left the relieved couple and went into an obscure part of the town that Scrooge had never penetrated before, although he recognized its situation and its bad repute. Far in this den of infamous resort, there was a low-browed, beetling shop, where iron, old rags, bottles, bones, and greasy offal were bought.
Look here, Joe, here's a chance. If we haven't all three met here without meaning it.
Well, you couldn't have met in a better place. Come into the parlour. You were made free of it long ago, you know, and the other two ain't strangers. Stop till I shut the door of the shop. Ah, how it squeaks. There ain't such a rusty bit of metal in the shop as its own hinges, I believe. And I'm sure there's no such old bones here as mine. We're all suitable to our calling. We're all well matched.
Don't be shy, Mrs. Dilber, nor shamed. What odds, then? Every person has the right to take care of themselves.
But that man always did.
That's true indeed. No man more so.
Why, then, don't stand there staring as if you were afraid, woman.
Oh, who will be the wiser anyway?
True, and we're not going to pick holes in each other's pockets, I suppose.
No, indeed.
I should hope not.
Very well, then. Who's the worse for the loss of a few things like these? Not the dead man, I suppose.
No, indeed.
If he wanted to keep him after he was dead, wicked old screw, why wasn't he natural in his lifetime? If he had been, he'd have had somebody to look after him when he was struck with death, instead of lying, gasping out his last, there, alone, by himself.
That's the truest word that ever was spoke.
It's a judgment on him.
Well, now, did you come to discuss the dead man or to trade his goods?
I was here first, Joe.
May I die and rot in hell if I wasn't here first, Joe?
You've died and rotten in hell 5 times over, Maggie.
Is that a Christian thing to say to a lady, Joe? All right, let Dinsdale here go first. Mrs. Dilber next, as she is so skittery, and I'll make the third.
I saved the best for last, though, Maggie.
True as ever, Joe. I bring the best to my Joe.
Now then, Dinsdale.
Here you are, all straight from his very room.
Pencil case, pair of sleeve buttons, a brooch. Not much here. Well, that's your account, and I wouldn't give another sixpence if I was to be boiled for not doing it. Now then, dearie.
Be good to me, Joe. There's the baby sick and my John's in prison again.
Oh, prison again. Lord love you, dearie.
Yes, well, the goods is what matters, Mrs. Dilber. I'm no charity outfit.
Sheets, towels, teaspoons, silver, mind.
Not very high quality.
When would the dead man spend money on quality, eh?
A pair of boots. Let's see. 6 and 2 and 3. I always give too much to the ladies. It's a weakness of mine, and that's the way I ruined myself. That's your account. If you ask me for another penny, I repent of being so liberal and knock off half a crown.
Open up that bundle, Joe, and let me know the value of it. Speak out plain. I'm not afraid to be the last, nor afraid for them to see it. We knew pretty well that we were helping ourselves before we met here, I believe. It's no sin.
What do you call this? Bed curtains?
Aye, bed curtains.
You don't mind to say you took 'em down, rings and all, with him lying there?
Yes, I do. Why not?
You were born to make your fortune, Maggie, and you'll certainly do it.
I certainly shan't hold my hand back when I can get anything in it by reaching it out. Don't drop ashes on them blankets now.
These blankets?
Whose else do you think? He isn't likely to take cold without 'em, I dare say. You may look through that shirt till your eyes ache, but you won't find a hole in it nor a threadbare place. It's the best he had, and a fine one, too. They'd have wasted it if it hadn't been for me.
What do you call wasting of it?
Put it on him to be buried in, to be sure. Somebody was fool enough to do it, but I took it off again.
I hand it to you, Maggie. You are a sharp one.
This is the end of it, you see. He frightened everyone away from him when he was alive to profit us when he was dead.
Shackles. Spirit, I see. The case of this unhappy man might be my own. My life tends that way now.
The scene changed, and now he saw a bare, uncurtained bed on which, beneath a ragged sheet, there lay a something covered up.
Oh, merciful heaven, what is that? Spirit, who is this man? Unwatched, uncared for, plundered and bereft. If he could be raised up now, what would be his foremost thought? Avarice, hard-dealing greed, and gain? They have brought him a rich end, truly. Spirit, this is a fearful place. Let us leave it. In leaving it, I shall not leave its lesson, trust me. Let us go. I understand you, and I would do it if I could, but I have not the power. Good Spirit, let me see some tenderness connected with the deaths, or this dark chamber will haunt me.
The ghost conducted him through several streets, familiar to his feet, and as they went along, Scrooge looked here and there to find himself, but nowhere was he to be seen. They entered poor Bob Cratchit's house.
And he took a child and set him in the midst of them.
Mother.
It's just the colour of the cloth. It hurts my eyes.
Let me help.
I wouldn't show weak eyes to your father when he comes home for all the world. It must be near his time.
Past it, rather.
I think he has walked a little slower than he used to these last few evenings, Mother.
I have known him to walk with Tiny Tim upon his shoulders very fast indeed.
So have I, often.
And so have I.
But he was very light to carry, and Father loved him so much that it was no trouble.
And here is your father at the door. Hello, my dear. Come in and have a warm.
Why, Martha, how is it that you're here?
Mrs. McLean said for me to take a few days off.
Until we get things settled. Isn't that kind of her, Bob?
Yes, indeed. It is good to have us all together. Now?
Tea's ready.
I found a place today, all green, with trees and birds. It's not far, in the churchyard on the next street but two.
We can visit it every Sunday, Father.
Are there flowers? I remember how Tim loved flowers, especially daisies.
Perhaps we can plant some, Belinda.
Tim would like that, I'm sure. He knew all the flowers' names. Oh, he was such a bright, cheerful boy. My child. my little child.
Father, I spoke with the carpenter today. It will be ready for Sunday.
And the charge?
4 shillings.
Well, we'll find it somewhere. Will you want paying first?
No, I asked him and he said he remembers Tiny Tim and how he was always so cheerful and kind. We needn't pay till we can.
Thank goodness for that.
Everyone liked Tim. It's comforting to remember that.
How could anyone not like Tim? Thank you, Peter, for taking care of that. You certainly are growing up. Oh, I met Mr. Fred, you know, Mr. Scrooge's nephew, in the street today.
And what did he say, Bob?
Well, he noticed I looked just a little down, you know, and asked about it. When I told him, he said, "I'm heartily sorry for it, Mr. Cratchit, and heartily sorry for your good wife. If I could be of service to you in any way, pray come to me." And I said, "Thank you," and then he spoke of you, Peter.
Yes, he buys the paper from me every day and is very pleasant.
He said you were a bright and up-and-coming young man. I shouldn't be at all surprised, mark what I say, if he got Peter a better situation.
Only hear that, Peter.
And then Peter will be keeping company with some nice girl and setting up house for himself.
Get along with you.
Well, it is just as likely as not, though there's plenty of time for that. But however and whenever we part from one another, I'm sure that we shall none of us forget poor Tiny Tim, or this first parting that was among us. Shall we?
Never.
Never,
No,
never, Father.
Never.
Spectre, something informs me that our parting moment is at hand. I know it, but I know not how. Tell me, what man was that whom we saw lying dead?
A churchyard, walled in by houses, overrun by grass and weeds, choked up with too much burying, fat with repleted appetite. A worthy place.
Before I draw nearer to that stone, answer me one question. Are these the shadows of the things that will be, or are they the shadows of things that may be only? Men's courses will foreshadow certain ends, but if the courses be altered, surely, the ends will change. Say it is thus with what you show me. Or, Spirit, I cannot look. Oh, no. Spirit, am I that man who lay upon the bed? No, Spirit. No, no. Spirit, hear me. I am not the man I was. I will not be the man I must have been but for this intercourse. Why show me this if I am past all hope? Assure me that I yet may change these shadows you have shown me. I will honor Christmas in my heart and try to keep it all the year. I will live in the past, the present, and the future. The spirits of all three shall strive within me. I will not shut out the lessons that they teach. Oh, Spirit, have pity on me. My bed? My bedclothes? My clothes? My chair? And there's the corner where the ghost of Christmas present sat. And that's where the ghost of Jacob Marley entered. It's all true. It all happened. Jacob Marley? Oh, thank you, Jacob. Heaven and Christmas time be praised for this. I say it on my knees. I must get up. I don't know what I must do. I'm as light as a feather. I'm as happy as an angel. I'm as merry as a schoolboy, as giddy as a drunken man. A Merry Christmas to everybody, and a Happy New Year to all the world. Hello there. Hello. I don't know what day of the month it is. I don't know how long I've been among the spirits. I don't know anything. I'm quite a baby. Never mind, I don't care. I'd rather be a baby. Hello. Hello there. Hello there. Excuse me. Could you tell me something, please?
What?
Could you tell me, please, what day this is?
But everybody knows what day this is.
I'm afraid I do not. Can't you tell me?
Why, it's Christmas. It's Christmas Day.
Christmas Day! I haven't missed it. The spirits have done it all in one night. Well, they can do anything they like. Of course they can. Of course they can. Christmas Day. I can still go to dinner at Fred's. Oh, what a wonderful surprise that will be. And Bob Cratchit. What can I do for Bob Cratchit? Merry Christmas, lad. Where are you off to?
Up to the baker's, sir, to have our Christmas goose cooked.
I wonder, since it's on your way, if you might do an old man a favour on Christmas morning. Do you know the poulterers on the next street but one?
Oh, I should hope so, sir.
Remarkable lad. What's your name, my buck?
Peter Cratchit, sir.
I thought it might be something like that. Well, Peter Cratchit, what do you know about turkeys?
Sir?
Do you know a prize turkey when you see it?
Oh, I think so, sir.
Intelligent boy. It's a pleasure to converse with him.
Sir, do you mean that huge bird hanging in the window of the shop?
Yes, my lad. The huge one. That bird that couldn't have possibly supported itself. Go and buy it for me.
Walker?
No, I am in earnest, boy. Here's the money for the bird and an extra shilling for you. Take it to the baker's with your goose and pick them up later, and there'll be another half-crown for you.
Half a crown, sir? Where shall I take the turkey when it's done?
Oh, right, lad. Do you know Camden Town very well?
Oh, yes, sir.
Good. Do you know Cornhill? Well, take the turkey past Cornhill to number 7 Camden Town.
Yes, sir. But, sir, that's my house.
So it is, Peter Cratchit. Take it there as a Christmas joke on your father. For it comes from Mr. Scrooge, and your father's not to know.
Are you Mr.?
It will be our joke, eh, Peter?
Oh, yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Now run along with you and get that bird to the baker before you can say Phineas Fezziwig.
Yes, sir. Merry Christmas, sir.
Merry Christmas. What a joke. It's twice the size of Tiny Tim.
The people were by this time pouring forth as he had seen them with the ghost of Christmas present. Scrooge regarded everyone with a delighted smile. He had not gone far when, coming toward him, he beheld 2 certain gentlemen.
My dear sirs, how do you do? I hope you succeeded yesterday. It was very kind of you. A Merry Christmas to you both.
Mr. Scrooge.
Yes, that is my name, and I fear it may not be pleasant to you. Allow me to ask your pardon. And will you have the goodness to... I'd like to...
Lord bless me. Oh, my dear Mr. Scrooge, are you serious?
If you please, not a farthing less. A great many back payments are included in it, I assure you. Will you do me that favour?
My dear sir, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say.
I don't know how to thank you.
Don't say anything, please. Come and see me. Will you come see me?
We will.
Scrooge went to church and walked about the streets and watched the people hurrying to and fro, and patted the children on the head and questioned beggars, and looked down into the kitchens of houses and up to the windows and found that everything could yield him pleasure. He had never dreamt that any walk, that anything could give him so much happiness. Then he heard a familiar laugh.
It can't be. But it is Uncle Scrooge.
Fred, my dear nephew Fred. And this is your wife. Merry Christmas, my dear.
Merry Christmas.
Uncle Scrooge, what can have come over you?
Christmas, my boy. Christmas. But I'll tell you all about it over dinner. I am still welcome.
Of course, Uncle Scrooge.
Of course, more than welcome.
It is a mercy Fred didn't shake his arm off. They were home in 5 minutes. Nothing could be heartier. Wonderful party, wonderful games, wonderful unanimity, wonderful happiness. Oh, but he was early at the office next morning. If he could only be there first and catch Bob Cratchit coming late. That was the thing he had set his heart upon. The clock struck 9. No Bob. 1:15. No Bob. He was a full 18.5 minutes late.
Hello. What do you mean by coming here at this time of day?
I'm very sorry, sir. I am behind my time.
You are? Yes, I think you are. Step this way, sir, if you please.
It's only once a year, sir. Should not be repeated. I was making rather merry yesterday, sir.
Yes, I'm sure you were. Now, I'll tell you what, my friend. I'm not going to stand for this sort of thing any longer. And therefore, I am about to raise your salary. A Merry Christmas, Bob. A merrier Christmas, Bob, my good fellow, than I have given you for many a year. I'll raise your salary, and we will discuss your affairs this very afternoon over a Christmas bowl of smoking bishop, Bob. Build up the fire, and buy another coal scuttle before you dot another I, Bob Cratchit.
Scrooge was better than his word. He did it all and infinitely more. And to Tiny Tim,
Uncle Scrooge!
who did not die, he was a second father. He became as good a friend, as good a master, and as good a man as the good old city knew. He had no further intercourse with spirits, but lived on the total abstinent principle ever afterward. And it was always said of him that he knew how to keep Christmas well, if any man alive possessed the knowledge. May that be truly said of all of us. And so, as Tiny Tim observed, God bless us, every one.
We hope you enjoyed our Signet Radio Hour presentation of A Christmas Carol. The show was directed by Alana Byington. Our actors were Dave Bowden, Kristen Martha Brown, Bruce Burkhart-Smyer, Linda Hayden, Sarah Lucht, Michelle Mariana, and Chris Porter. Rhodey Ortega created our sound design. Mike DiNapoli is chief engineer and editor. Carol Ann Woolmott is our line producer. All Signet Radio Hour broadcasts are recorded according to COVID guidelines at the studio at North Rim. Find out more about the Signet Radio Hour and this season's presentations at signetproductions.com. I'm your host, Luann Moldovan. Thank you for listening to the Signet Radio Hour.